Good morning. Welcome to the Purpose Party, day 2. I am excited to be here this morning. We really talked about some powerful things. I've had so many of you messaging me and just really excited about this idea of diving into your purpose even deeper. And so we went into some deep stuff yesterday. I want to take it another level today. So I'm super excited. If you're here live with me, hey Cindy, say good morning if you're here live. If you're watching the replay, comment #replay. So I left you with some homework yesterday, and those homework questions, hey Erin, good morning. Those homework questions were, how do you define your purpose? And what is your why? What's your reason? And then we talked about yesterday the difference between your passion and your purpose and why it's so important that you can distinguish them. They're not the same thing. And so yesterday, I also asked you, how will you know when you're living with passion, and how will you feel? How would life would be different? So I left you with some homework. I'd love to know if you journaled any of those questions, what came up for you. Do you know what your purpose is? Do you think you know what it is? And so, I've just been getting so many messages from you about yesterday. And, we talked about the first thing is we talked about how really staying the same and being unintentional it's not going to get you any further than where you are right now. And, if you're here, if you're watching the Purpose Party, if you're a part of this week, you are a big-hearted woman, you are kind, you are giving, but we get caught in our comfort zone. And our comfort zone, if you're a big-hearted, kind-giving woman, it's different than somebody else's comfort zone. Some people's comfort zone might be inaction, but your comfort zone is probably over-giving, over-serving, over-delivering, overachieving. Wave at me in the comments if I'm talking to the right women. And so, our comfort zone can be overproducing, over-giving, over-serving. But what I want you to know is that anytime you are overdoing anything, it's over giving, over serving, overdoing. It comes from a place of lack. So you're overcompensating to prove that you're enough. And so whenever you're overdoing anything, I just want you to know that it is coming from a place of like this sneaky little mindset that is of lack. Like, I'm not enough, so I have to overdo to prove that I'm good enough. And so, hey, Deb, yeah. So that is what we need to take care of. Like, that is one of the things right there that is causing you suffering. And when I say suffering, sometimes we think suffering is, like in writhing in pain. But, I think as women, we suffer more than we care to admit. And when I say suffering, I mean, it's like laying your head on the pillow at night and being exhausted and feeling like, is what I'm doing even matter? Does it even matter? That's suffering. And you don't have to suffer. You should not be suffering. That's not normal. And so we talked about, having a bad case of the uns and the overs. Can anybody remember, like, what were some of the uns and the overs that we talked about yesterday? Post them in the chat. Some of the overs we've been talking about, the overachieving, overgiving, overserving. What are some of the uns? Unclear, yes, yeah. What else? Some of the uns that we talked about yesterday that we get stuck in. Unsure, unfulfilled, yeah. Feeling undervalued. You know, we give and we give and we give, and when you're giving and overdoing and overserving to prove that you're enough, then what happens is when nobody notices, you feel underappreciated and undervalued, right? Hey Susie, good morning. I just saw you on here too. So these are the things that happen to us as women. As you know, you're not underachievers here. You're not you might be stuck, but it's not because you're not doing anything, right? It's because you want to take care of everyone else and make sure everyone else is happy, but if you're not filling yourself up, then you lose your joy. You put yourself last on your own to-do list. You put everyone else at the top of your to-do list. So this is what we talked about yesterday. We get a bad case of the uns and the overs, but what happens is your dreams and desires get delayed. And, you know, when you stand before God at the end of time, you know, I don't think, like, now I'm just making this up here, but I don't think that, like, when you stand before God and God says, what did you do with the gifts that I gave you? I don't think it's okay for you to say, well, you know, I was worried about helping so-and-so, you know, fulfill their purpose. Well, what about your purpose? What did you do with your gifts and talents? There's a story in the Bible about the servant that buried their talents. And so I think this is what happens to us as women. We bury what's inside of us because we're so focused on everyone else and helping everyone else, taking care of everyone else, but that is a distraction. And so busyness, chronic busyness, is a real problem. And the way to overcome chronic busyness and over-serving, over-delivering, and all of that is to be more intentional. And to be more intentional, you have to live with purpose. And to live with purpose, you have to know what your purpose is. And your purpose is not what you do. What you do should be a reflection of your purpose. But if you've made a purpose out of what you do, then what happens if what you do goes away? And that's what happened to me. I created a life that was built around a purpose that was around what I did as a wife and a pastor's wife, and when all that went away, I went through a major identity crisis because I built my life on what I did instead of who I was at my core. And so today, this whole week, is I want you to wake you up to the power of your purpose and why living with intentionality and knowing your true identity is the key to a successful future and fulfilling your purpose and feeling fulfilled and being fruitful financially, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all of it. It is the missing piece. And so, you know, we talked about yesterday that, you know, we have to be accurate and we have to be authentic. Gone are the days that you can live haphazardly, living for everyone else. Gone are the days that you can put yourself on the back burner. Gone are the days. Like, I believe that God is calling women to rise up and to be more intentional, but there is some work that needs to be done. And we're going to dive into that a little bit more today. So that was just some review. Sorry, I'm getting a little preachy here, but I'm so passionate about this. And I believe that it is part of my mission and my vision and my purpose to be that clarion call to women to rise up, stop being haphazard, stop just living for everyone else. You'll actually be more effective if you are living on point. So some of the feedback that I was getting from you yesterday is that you really identified with this idea that I talked about yesterday of living in your sweet spot. There's a book, and I'm drawing blank on the name of the book, but he defines it as your zone of genius. That's where we need to be, ladies. We need to be living in our zone of genius. We need to be living in our sweet spot. What would it be like if you were living in your sweet spot? Like in your zone of genius. What do you think your zone of genius might be? Type it in the chat. I want to hear from you. If you're coming on live, say, hey, let me know you're here. If you're watching a replay, comment #replay. What do you think your zone of genius is? So your zone of genius, your sweet spot, this is where, like, it's just effortless. You could do this for hours. You could, it's something that you could just, you love doing so much, you would do it for free, but you're so good at that people would be willing to pay you for it. Okay? That is a good indicator. That diving into that is a good indicator of what your sweet spot is and what your zone of genius is. I'm living in my sweet spot right now, like in my zone of genius. I am doing this. I love it so much. I'm doing this for free today. But I'm so good at it that people pay me for it too. This is it fuels me doing this right here. Teaching, coaching, inspiring, motivating, calling you to rise up, pastoring you. This is my sweet spot. It's my zone of genius. What is your zone of genius? What are some of those things that you do? And here's the thing is that we talked about yesterday that some women think that their purpose is extravagant. It's like extraordinary. Your purpose is of what you do every day. And to you, it probably feels super ordinary. What are you so good at that you could do for hours? You know, for another part of that for me is listening. I love to listen to people. That's why I'm a good coach. Because I used to, people would say, like, why don't you speak up? Why don't you talk more? You're so quiet. And I felt bad about myself. And I thought, what's wrong with me? And then I realized, like, listening is one of my superpowers. Yes, the manager's handbook. Yes, that's it. Yes, thank you, Cindy. That's, I think that's the book where they talk about your zone of genius. So what are those things that you do that you feel like, well, doesn't everybody do this? Isn't this normal? Like, no, it's part of your gift to the world. Let me know in the comments. Come on, give me some things. What do you think might be some things that are your zone of genius, that are just so natural to you? You love doing them so much, you do them for free, but you're so good at, people would be willing to pay you for them. Let me know in the chat, what are you so good at? Susie, one of the things you're so good at, and you probably would, I know you do it for free, but how to pray, maybe how to teach, children, your French, anything, having to do with France, like those are some of the things that are it's when you're in your zone of genius. And they say that when you're in your zone of genius that you get in a flow state. Hey, Lori, faux painting, but you don't want to make, yeah. Oh gosh, I remember the faux painting days. Yes, Lori, speaking, encouraging, inspiring. You're a visionary. You are a leader among women, providing a platform for women. I mean, that is your sweet spot. Leading women. That is, yes. And so, this is when they say when you are living in your zone of genius, you get in a flow state. In other words, it's like life is easy. Life doesn't have to be hard. Sometimes if life feels hard, it's because whatever you make hard, you make it inaccessible, because then it becomes an excuse. Like, well, I don't want to do that because it's too hard. And so, okay, I'm getting a little off track. Let me come back here. But I want to dive into the Deadly D cycle just for a few minutes. Yes, I love that, Lori. You know, sometimes, okay, that is so powerful what you just said. She said, life is about pruning right now to step more fully into my zone of genius. It's a hard phase. Okay, so yeah, what happens is because we're not living with purpose and we're not living with intention and we're not living on point, then we fill the void with all kinds of stuff that doesn't matter. It's like it makes a little difference, but it doesn't make an impact. It creates change, but not transformation. That right there is, I think that's a really good indicator, is like pruning the things in your life that create change, but they don't create transformation, because change is temporary. And so, yeah, Debbie, encouraging women with quotes. But Debbie, I'm going to ask you to dive deeper because there is so much more to you. You are a woman of tenacity. You are a warrior. You are a woman of resilience. You are more than an overcomer. Like, you have the ability to inspire and motivate and rally women toward a cause. And so I want to ask you to see yourself more. Encouraging women with little quotes is wonderful, but there is so much more to you. And I'm calling you out, sis. I'm calling you up and to see yourself, to see the depth of what's inside of you. Okay, so I am trying to find here, let me get to the, let's see here. Sorry. I want to get to the Deadly D cycle. You'll be seeing me talk about this in the group, especially next week, and I'm going to dive into it. But I realized that I was stuck in what I call the Deadly D cycle. And I didn't pull this off the internet. This was literally my hamster wheel. And I find that it is the hamster wheel that women get caught on and stuck in. So I'm pulling that up right now. Thought I had it pulled up here. But so the Deadly D cycle is this cycle that we get caught in because we are over-serving, over-giving, over-delivering, overachieving, and we just get caught in this cycle, and it leads to exhaustion. And oh my goodness, where is it? Okay, I am going to find it. Okay, I've almost got it. I know it's here. Um, Goodness gracious. I thought that I had myself all set up and ready to go here. But I am looking for the Deadly D site. Well, if I can't find it, then we're gonna talk about it some more tomorrow. But what are some of your biggest takeaways so far from today? What are you taking away from this morning so far? Here we go. I found it. The Deadly D cycle. What are you taking away from today? What is rising up inside of you? Okay, the Deadly D cycle. Post in the comment what you're taking away as I start to go over the Deadly D cycle. The Deadly D cycle is, I believe it starts off with disappointment. And we go through things in life and we feel this deep sense of disappointment. And part of that comes from, over serving, over giving, all of that. And then we still feel like something's missing. Like we still feel like, we're still have that longing for that validation, that fulfillment, that sense of significance. And so you feel disappointed. And so, but because we are taught as women to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and just keep moving forward, we deny our feelings. That is the second, D. So the first one is disappointment. Hey, Catherine, good to see you. The second one is denial. So we deny because we're a fighter, we're high achieving women, and we're taught to survive. We push it all down, all of our feelings, and we focus on everybody else and make sure they're okay when really inside we're suffering. That's the denial. And then we distract ourselves. That's the next D. We distract ourselves with as many plates up in the air as we can, right? How many of you feel like a circus act sometimes, like just trying to keep all the plates spinning in the air without them crashing down on your head? Oh, this one. Okay, this one's going. Now let me go over here and get this one. Now this one's over here. I feel like that with my kids sometimes. Like I get this one going and they're okay, and then this one's falling down. I got to run over and help this one. Or, like the car broke down. No. Just trying to keep all the plates spinning in the air. And so we distract ourselves with chronic busyness, and that allows us to deny our feelings and to deny ultimately our purpose, and keeps us stuck in just living haphazardly. And then so we've got disappointment, denial, distractions. And so what happens is distractions become the thing where we just forge ahead. Like pick yourself up by your bootstraps and just keep moving forward. Forge ahead. That is not living with purpose. That is not going to lead to you feeling more fulfilled. And then we do more as a way of distracting ourselves. We distract ourselves with doing. Take care of everyone else. Put yourself on your own, last on your own to-do list. The problem is the last D. Then you lay your head on your pillow at night and you feel like a diminished version of who God created you to be. That's the last D. And so you're running on fumes and you feel diminished. This is where the death of your dreams happens, right here. If you don't break out of the Deadly D cycle, this is where exhaustion and burnout happens, and you will not fulfill your destiny. You will not fulfill your purpose. Okay, who can relate to the deadly D cycle. This was my hamster wheel. How many of you feel like this is your hamster wheel too? Or what is the one, the D, that stands out to you the most? Disappointment, denial, distractions, doing, feeling diminished. Give me some feedback in the comments. So, okay, yeah, all right, yeah, I know this is it. This is like, I hope this is giving words to what you've been feeling all along, but you didn't know how to express it. Yeah, Connie, focusing on everyone else's needs has led high expectations, disappointment, and diminished. Yes, yes, girl. And yeah, Cindy, you feel diminished. Feeling small, that's right. That can become a comfort zone. You're so right. And so this is not this is not your destiny. And I hope you are waking up to like no longer settling for this as your reality, okay? So, I want to, in my book, Summoned to Soar, the 5 stages of the rise of a woman, I talk about, if you've been around me any enough amount of time, you know this, but I want to remind you and bring it all together for you. And that is that, so when the caterpillar, our lives as women, we can look to the butterfly to see where we are at in our journey and to really identify, like, do we have any caterpillar residue? Or are we stuck in the cocoon? Or are you ready to break out of the cocoon and ready to use your wings? So in my book, I talk about the whole process and how it relates to our journey as women so that you can get very clear about where you are on the journey. But your destiny is that God has called you to use your wings, to be soaring like a butterfly. So what happens is when the caterpillar, she goes into the cocoon, she endures the process, and you've heard the story. When she's in the cocoon, she can't excrete. She's swimming in her own stuff. Just like her, we feel like sometimes we feel like we're swimming in our own stuff, our own fears, failures, and imperfections. But if we will endure the process, we become a butterfly. We grow our wings, and then it's time to break out. And then when she breaks out of the cocoon, she begins to flap her wings, and all of the, excuse my language, the crap that was in the cocoon with her, as she flaps her wings, it forces all of that crap back up into her body and into her wings and hardens. And so all the crap that you've been through is what gives your wings the strength to fly. But as she gets out there and starts flapping her wings, she goes, higher and further, and she's making a difference in the world. We're just like her, like she's being seen and heard, and she's living her purpose. But something happens as she does that, as she's faithful to that, then something happens and she catches the tailwind. And the tailwind, when she catches the tailwind, it takes her to soaring. And when she soars, it literally takes her to places that she could not go on her own. That is your destiny. That's what God has for you. You are not called to stay stuck in the cocoon. You're not even called to just flap your wings as a butterfly. You have been summoned to soar. Now, what does that look like? In order to really step into soaring, you have to reawaken the dreams and desires of your heart. And the dreams and desires of your heart, your desires are not evil. Your desires, I believe if God is giving you dreams and desires, it's because your dreams and desires are linked to your purpose. Somebody type that in the chat. My dreams and desires are linked to my purpose. But we get caught in the deadly D cycle, and that becomes the death of our dreams. Come on, somebody. I hope you're waking up to this. And so What is a big dream? I want to give you a definition of what a big dream is. A big dream is defined as a bold vision of your future self that is bigger than where you are right now. That is mind blowing. So, what I want you to walk away with today is I want you to reawaken to the dreams and desires in your heart, and to know that the dreams and desires in your heart are linked to your purpose. And your dream, a big dream, is a bold vision of your future self that is bigger than where you are right now. Somebody give me some feedback. Somebody talk to me in the chat. What's going on? What's waking up inside of you? Are you feeling your dreams and desires coming to life? When you are focused on your big dream, which is you soaring, your big dream is you soaring. When you are focused on your big dream, it ignites creativity, imagination, and passion. Listen to this. A big dream, somebody type this in the chat. A big dream is what's possible outside of your perceived limitations. Right now, you're seeing yourself in your perceived limitations. Yes, Cindy, my dreams and desires are linked to my purpose. The way you're seeing yourself right now is inside of your perceived limitations. What would life look like if you saw yourself outside of your perceived limitations? That's your big dream. That big dream is linked to your purpose. I hope somebody is waking up today. I hope somebody is waking up this morning. Yes, Aaron, my dreams and desires are linked to my purpose. So, okay, so in order, though, to really begin to live this out, and we're going to dive more into this tomorrow, so stick with me, come back tomorrow, bring a friend, tag somebody that needs to hear this, because girls, we've got to wake up. We are the world changers. You are a world changer. The butterfly effect is real. One flap of a butterfly's wings impacts weather patterns on the other side of the world. When you wake up to your big dreams and desires, when you wake up to your purpose, you automatically change the world, whether you know it or not. Yes, Connie, your big dream is you outside of your limitations. That's it, girlfriend. So, but there is a process that we have to go through as women. It's 3 steps, and we find the pattern for this in the butterfly. Number 1, you have to go through the unbecoming. This is what we do in the Rise Academy, but this is what you have to do, whether you do it with me and allow me to take you through the process in 12 weeks and literally change your life forever, or if you do it yourself, you have to go through these 3 steps. You have to do these 3 things. You have to go through the unbecoming. When the caterpillar goes into the cocoon, enzymes are released that liquefy her into liquid goo. They call it pupa soup. You have to let go of the woman you've become. You have to let go of your fears, failures, and imperfections. You have to let go of the woman that you are inside of your perceived limitations. And that takes a process, and you need accountability for that, or you will get in the middle of it and you will stop midstream, because that is hard work. If you've gone through the process with me, you know That is hard work. And if you don't have accountability and you don't have someone by your side, you will get in the middle of it and you'll say, you know what, the cocoon just is comfortable enough. I'm fine to stay here. And you'll get stuck. You may have tried to do it yourself before. But this is where you need support. And so the cocoon is actually lined with silk. And so there's a softness, there's a grace. You need that support and the silk to go through the unbecoming process. And this right here, the unbecoming, is what most women avoid like the plague, because it is painful. Letting go of rejection, letting go of fear. See, all those things have become our comfort zone. Letting go of self-limiting beliefs, letting go of, yeah, Lori, no problem. Catch the replay, girl. It's a fire. Okay. But, so you have to go through the unbecoming. I don't care how successful you are right now. Here's what happens is that a lot of times as women, we go on and to achieve some success, but because we have skipped the unbecoming part, we sabotage ourselves back. Even if we've seen success, we sabotage ourselves back. So you have to go through the process of unbecoming. And this is what we do in the first part of the Rise Academy. This is so, so powerful. It is the most life-changing piece that we go through right here. So, and then number 2, you have to then, once you have gone through the unbecoming, I call this clearing the foundation. Once you have gone through that process, then you have to go through the becoming. And this is where in the Rise Academy, we do a lot of work, identity work, because you have most likely become the woman you're supposed to be, or the woman you should be, or the woman that is a result of what your circumstances told you are, or what somebody else's opinion told you are. You have to go through you have to go through a process. Yeah, Lori, giving your sacred yes to not only unbecoming, but then becoming the most authentic version of who God created you to be. See, most of times we have allowed our past, other people's opinions to define us. But we have to go through a process of defining ourselves. Writing a mission statement, writing a vision statement, writing a purpose statement, identifying your intrinsic core values. I told you we'd talk about values today. Your core values, it's not enough to know your core values. If you just are living by your core values, you could very easily get tripped up here, because that's when you let people step over your boundaries, because you're probably the values that, if just operating out of your values, a lot of your values are probably somebody else's values. But you have to dive into what are the intrinsic core values that are linked to your personality. These are the values that become your boundaries, unspoken boundaries that don't become walls. They're like invisible boundaries that you don't have to shout it from the mountaintops and say, you can't cross my boundaries. It's like, so I always say we teach people how to treat us by the way we treat ourselves. So these intrinsic core values become invisible boundaries that don't become walls, but it shows people how far they can go with you. So your passion statement, purpose statement, potential statement, all these things, you have to go through a process of defining who you are, so that your circumstances, fears, failures, none of those things can ever define you again. once you step into that kind of power, that is where your sweet spot is activated. Your zone of genius is activated. And then finally the breakthrough where, can you imagine the butterfly, she's fully formed but she's still trapped in the cocoon. And, some of you have been doing the work. You've been working hard to develop and be authentic, but you're still trapped in the cocoon. And what's the use of doing all the hard work of becoming if you're not going to break through? And the only way for the butterfly to get out of the cocoon is to kick her way out. Breakthrough is hard work. Again, this is why I provide the accountability, the strategy. This is where I provide the strategical plan, all the curriculum that you need, the community, the sisterhood, everything is there for you so that in 12 weeks, listen, you need to make up for lost time here. And there are things that there are people waiting for you to rise up. And so I want to call you up and call you out and call you up to a higher place. I want to call you up to a place of purpose. And so we're going to dive in one more day tomorrow. I hope that things are waking up inside of you. I hope that you are feeling just your purpose reawaken, rise up inside of you. If you would like to talk about how to be a part of the next cohort in the Rise Academy, send me a message or just type the Rise Academy and I'll get with you and we'll get on the phone. But this is so important for you. No longer can you just live haphazardly. Yes, your purpose is your divine assignment. Debbie, you nailed it. Your purpose is your God-given assignment created only for you. That is the perfect way to wrap it up and the best way to say it. That's what your purpose is. And all hell is coming against you to keep you satisfied, to keep you safe, to keep you stuck, to keep you staying the same. All those sneaky little S's. And those days are over. So, okay, I'm going to take a deep breath and do you have what questions or comments do you have for me? Do you want coaching right here on the spot? I'm here for you. Let me know what you need from me. Tomorrow, I want you to come ready with some questions. I'm going to coach you on the spot. We'll do some hot seat coaching tomorrow. We'll dive in a little bit deeper and bring this thing home. But if you've got questions or comments, let me know. And I'm here. I'm going to be watching throughout the day. Tag somebody that needs to watch this replay and yesterday's replay. If they're not in the group, invite them into the group and tag them in these two videos. Girls, we've got to rise up. It's time. This is your moment in time to soar. And I'm here to be your guide to help you do that. I'm opening the doors to a new cohort of the Rise Academy, 12 weeks. And it is a lot of you have been through it, and you know the power of it, but it will change your life in 12 weeks. And so if that's something you want to know more about, you can let me know. I'll give you the details of it tomorrow. But girls, we got to rise up. It's time. So, okay, I love you. Thank you, Deb. Thank you. Yes, share it, tag people. Get girls in the group. Let's do this together. Okay, I love you. You have been summoned to soar. I'll see you tomorrow.